Welcome to the Tree of Life podcast. My name is Joel Ledford, and I have the pleasure of being here today with Ivan Tse. Welcome, Ivan.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So, Ivan, we usually start out the program with just a little bit about people's background, and so I'm really curious to know where did you where's your hometown? How did you end up at UC Davis? How did you decide to end up at UC Davis? And what has your path been like since you arrived?
Right. So my name is Ivan. I grew up in SF. Uh, One of the biggest reasons why I came to UC Davis was actually for the community. So in high school, I didn't really have a top choice in terms of college. I just wanted to make sure that the college I go to had a non-competitive environment. And so I visited every school, and I found that UC Davis had that perfect fit for me. And so that was like the main reason why I chose UC Davis. Coming here, I initially was an NPB major, but as I took a little bit more bio classes and chem classes, I realized that my interests lied more into the chemistry field, and so that's what made me switch into pharmaceutical chemistry. And yeah, I've been enjoying that major since.
Great. So you're a graduating senior.
I am a graduating senior. My plans are to apply for dental school soon.
Great. So I'm really curious to know about the transition between coming from high school to arriving at UC Davis. And obviously that's been a long time ago for me. And I remember being very shocked when I first came to UC Davis about the rigor and what was really expected of me, and not getting too much guidance, at least initially, with how to study, how to prepare, the kinds of things that I should and shouldn't be doing. And so I'm curious to know, when you arrived, how did you find the difference between high school and then being at a big university in a big university class?
Right. Yeah, UC Davis was very different from high school. I graduated from a class of 60, and the high school I went to was pretty underserved as well, and so I didn't really have a lot of resources during high school. And so coming to UC Davis, I was initially very intimidated by just like the environment and the people here. I know that there's a lot of people that come to UC Davis with a strong background. They took a lot of AP classes. They had a lot of resources in high school. I lacked all of those, and so it was just very intimidating at first. But I think the co-classes really fostered a collaborative environment where I felt comfortable asking questions. I think that's where I've developed a very strong work ethic as well. My co-class teacher, Brandy, she really encouraged us to help each other out, make sure to go to office hours, just taught us ways to study better, and to not procrastinate. And so with co-classes, I felt like I was able to develop these skills early on in college, which helped me on with the rest of my college career, because I feel like a lot of people that I knew struggled with that in the first year of college, where they weren't sure how to balance life with school, and so people usually focused more on the life aspect rather than the study aspect. And so typically people did a little bit worse during their first year, but I felt like through the co-classes, I kind of had that strong foundation built where I didn't have that big of a struggle.
So we need to just jump back real quick for a moment, and I of course, because I was partly involved in the design of the co-classes, know what they are, but I'm really curious to see how you would explain them. What is a co-class? What happens?
So co-class, there's many aspects to a co-class, but at least through my experience, it's a class where there's like a group of students, typically around 15 students, where it's more of a personal experience with a TA or even with the instructor, where we get personal guidance through learning the course material, but also just a place where we can all kind of share our knowledge and share our experiences. It's just like a safe environment for us to learn without judgment. and we were able to get a little bit more resources as well, just so it kind of like helped us kickstart our college career. We practiced, we had a little extra practice exams. We had a little bit more just help in general, a little more guidance.
So these classes are associated with a big regular class. And so which co-classes did you take?
Right. So I took Biz 2C co-class. I also took Chem 2B as well as Biz 2B.
Okay, so you took 3 co-classes overall,
Right.
and you had different TAs and obviously different instructors. And one thing that I always try to impress upon students is that, you know, the co-classes, while we do give some extra help, it's really about learning the bigger ideas and techniques about learning and preparing you to do better, not only just in that class, but in classes downstream. And I'm just curious in your thoughts on that. Would you agree with that?
I strongly agree with that statement. I think co-classes really encouraged me to kind of seek help outside of just the co-classes. I learned to utilize a lot more resources on campus. I learned that there's tutoring services. I learned that going to office hours, asking questions, I found that to be very helpful. It just kind of taught me different ways to, different approaches to studying and different approaches to getting help in college, and just encouraging me to do more of that after the co-classes as well. So it just kind of built that foundation for me, where after I stopped taking the co-classes, I still had that mindset of like, oh, there are resources on campus where I could seek and get help.
Excellent. So now that you have all this wisdom as a graduating senior, what piece of advice would you give to incoming freshmen or students just in general about UC Davis and the tips that you would give them for success?
Right. So personally, I understand completely the feeling of not feeling adequate enough to be in UC Davis. Like coming from a underserved high school, I did not take a lot of AP courses. I didn't come in with a strong foundation, and so I was also intimidated. But I think what I found very useful was actually going to office hours a lot. I think a lot of students initially get intimidated by going to office hours because you're talking with the professor, the TAs. Sometimes you don't know what to ask, but a lot of other people go to office hours as well, and so sometimes you can talk with other students and kind of exchange information, study together, and a lot of times the professors and the TAs are very, very willing to help and answer questions, and sometimes they'll give a little bit more advice as well on like how to study better, how to do better in that class. So just utilizing those resources, as well as utilizing those resources on campus as well. There's a lot of tutoring services offered at UC Davis through the Student Success Center. I found those to be also very helpful in my other courses, such as like physics and math, because those are the subjects that I struggled with the most. And so going through the tutoring really helped me out there.
Great. Well, thank you so very much for coming on today. We appreciate all of your experiences and the advice that you're giving to incoming students. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for watching our video. If you enjoyed the content but would like an audio-only version, please go to iTunes and look up Tree of Life UC Davis. If you want to see more videos on YouTube, please click the subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the little bell icon if you want to receive notifications of new content.